Hi, everyone. This is Maheen, and welcome to the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are stripping away the digital noise to get back to the heart of what makes businesses grow, which is the human connection. Because in 2026, marketing isn't just about algorithms and ad spend, it is really about how you show up, communicate, and build lasting trust with your community. Joining us today is Monica Hoffman, a fractional marketing consultant with over 15 years of experience from leading award-winning campaigns at Saatchi and Saatchi to supporting local entrepreneurs. Monica specializes in turning inconsistent marketing into clear strategic growth. She is here today to help us simplify the customer journey and make marketing feel doable again. So without further ado, let's welcome Monica. Monica, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you for joining. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Thank you so much, Maheen. This is my favorite topic, and just with everything that's going on, I really appreciate the chance to be able to step in
That
and have a chat about it.
Absolutely. This is a great starting point. And we'd love to kind of open our discussion with the brand story foundation. Monica, you believe that every single business they have an amazing story, but many founders struggle to tell it in a way that actually connects. Tell us, why is a strong brand story essential for effective marketing?
Look, we're humans, and as humans, we connect to stories. Like our whole humanity is built on storytelling from the beginning of I feel from the beginning of time. It's just how we communicate. And when we think about that from an advertising and marketing point of view, like there's so much being thrown at us like every day as consumers. We're being hit with this and that and this and that all the time. And when we're not engaged with it emotionally, it just flies over our head. So when any business, no matter the size, when they have and are clear on their brand story, they create an emotional connection. And then we can't and if we're the core target, and if we you know that story means something to us, then we remember you. So it's really, really important because you know we don't want to just be seen, we actually want to be remembered. And the way to do that is by, creating that emotional connection. And the foundation to that is having a really clear brand story, which is who you are, what you stand for, your values, and yeah, all the things.
Building on a human story ensures that our brand is remembered long after the initial transaction is over. Now, Monica, let's explore why guiding customers through the full journey matters just as much as lead generation. Tell us, why is understanding the full customer journey important for businesses?
Okay. So when it comes to understanding the journey, I feel like what happens and what I see a lot is companies really treating customers like numbers, metrics, all that jazz, and they forget that actually we're humans. Their customer or client is a human. And when you stop doing that, you forget about the process that they're going through with your product and your sales journey. So we all know that it starts with lead generation, which of course is super important. Like we need to get the leads in. And then often people jump to the sales. But that middle part in between, what I call, it's like the consideration stage, but what I call the nurturing stage is so important because as a consumer, as a human, as someone, like we need to know a lot of information before we decide that yes, and before we, decide to make that purchase. So that that's where I see when go on people's websites, when I see their ads, that middle part is often getting lost and that's often being forgotten. And really, when you optimize that, you're going to have a much better customer journey. You're going to have much, much higher sales. And then after the sales, when you think about, you know, often like we get the sale, yeah, yippee, but what happens after that? Like, how can we nurture them after that? And there's so many opportunities when you really understand the customer journey to look at those touch points, to create those experiences. So then you are remembered and you're really optimizing it. So it really is about, thinking about your customer as a human. And as soon as you do that, it just transforms the way you look at marketing.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, the overlooked customer journey is quite painful, and moving from just, throwing spaghetti at the wall to a purposeful journey is what creates truly awesome customer experiences. Next up, Monica, let's discuss the strategic gap that many SMEs face within their internal marketing teams. What risks arise when a marketing team lacks strategic direction?
Yeah, look, again, this is what I see. I get it often, sales and marketing get lumped together, which isn't always bad, but often I see a lot of teams in the space, they don't have that higher level, that strategic level to really set those foundations, like I was saying at the beginning. So what happens is marketing ends up really tactical. You end up, on social media, there's a lot of like jumping on the trends. There's a lot of like more performance-based marketing. Like you do your Google ads, you do your Meta, but it's like you just end up losing and not having that kind of emotional connection, which we know we need to be remembered. So, I feel for these marketing departments that like they're working so hard, they're doing so much work, but without those foundations, they just, like what you said, they're throwing spaghetti at the walls, they're focused on tactics, and they're just, as a brand, you're not actually being known for something. You're not building that momentum. You kind of end up starting from scratch in every campaign. We want to give people a reason to choose us. And I think that's when you haven't got that strategic layer, like you're often, you're missing out on that.
It's a very well laid out response, Monica. And you're right, aligning our team's hard work with a world-class strategy ensures that every single post and ad actually drives sustainable growth. And to all the founders that are watching in 2026, we need to stop mistaking being busy on social media for a marketing strategy. Like if your team is posting reels without a clear why, then we're really draining our brand's
Exactly.
energy for zero return. So please take a deep breath, look at the real gaps in our customer journey, and start focusing on unique connection over high pressure, as Monica mentioned. Now let's look at how structured partnerships help businesses build marketing momentum. Monica, how does a fractional CMO partnership help businesses gain marketing clarity?
Well, I think this is exactly supporting what I was just chatting about. A lot of times businesses can't afford to have that, that senior level strategy come in. And so a fractional marketing consultant can actually come in and help you take a step back, look at what's going on, and connect the dots and make sure that you've got those strategic foundations in place. And also, for me, a big part of that is getting your team, the whole team, like the whole of the business on board with that to make sure everyone's on the same page because, your team, they're your biggest brand advocates. And so you want them to be on board. And so, they were just very good at coming in, looking at the full picture, figuring out what the gaps are, what's working, what's not working. Sometimes having someone outside, we can come in and actually be like, say a bit more of the tough love, which can be hard when you're an internal worker. And then looking at what the big idea is here. And then you guys can move forward.
Having a strategic partner working that side by side with your team and turns marketing from a source of stress into such a great source of momentum. Uh, so thank you for highlighting the importance of building marketing momentum, Monica. Finally, let's explore how strong customer experiences turn buyers into brand advocates. How can small businesses turn customers into loyal brand advocates, Monica?
This is where I get the most excited. Sorry, I'm going to start that again. This is where I get the most excited when it comes to marketing and branding and ideas and stuff because, when we create experiences, we are remembered. And like what I was saying with the customer journey, when you have a really good understanding of your customer's journey, what journey they're on, it allows you to look for those areas which where you can do something different and unexpected. Another point to this is if you're clear on your brand values, what you want to be known for, how you want to do business, any experience you create is going to talk to that. And a customer who really, relates to your values is going to really, respond to that. So, you know, I've got a really good example of that at the moment. Like, Farm Boy it's like one of my favorite supermarkets here in Ontario, and they are just like cutting through the whole supermarket experience and standing for something which is really, really unusual, right? We're all used to it. You go into the big supermarkets, you know, I'm bagging my own product now. I'm getting rushed through. Um, and Farm Boy, they're all about local and fresh, and they're all about great customer service. And it's awesome. You go to I went in there the other day and I'm like, they literally bag your bag your products, and they're firmly against like self-checkout and all that. I'm not an affiliate with Farm Boy at all. I'm just saying it's a really good example of where a company is saying, this is what we value, like customer service, and then actually like making that experience real for us as customers. And it really, really stands out. It's just, it can be, there's so many examples of very small things that companies can do that makes you remembered, and you come away and you're like, whoa, I didn't just like that product. I loved that service, and I'm going to tell my friends about it. And I'm going to, you know, at the next family dinner, I'm going to talk about it. And you create these advocates, you make us want to go more, you make us talk about it. And, there's just so many opportunities there.
This is very insightful. Creating emotional connections through thoughtful experiences is probably the most effective growth strategy available to a local business. Um, this was a great conversation, Monica. Thank you so much for sharing such great insights and expertise in such a short amount of time. As we wrap up, what advice would you give business owners that are overwhelmed by marketing?
Okay. Like, my biggest advice, like, the world is moving so fast. There is so much pressure to keep up. There's every time I go on LinkedIn, there's like a new AI trend, a new, you better be doing this or else that. And, it's very cluttered. It is just a lot. My biggest advice, take a step back and let the world take a turn. Grab everyone in a room and go, what is it that we want to be known for? And get really clear on that. Have a big brainstorm. Forget about the trends. Get yourself laser focused on your ideal customer, what you want to be known for, and see what comes from that. And yeah, it's amazing the ideas that can come from that, and the momentum that you can build from, doing things differently and doing things that you value as a business.
That is a great reminder, Monica, that simple, grounded steps always beats a complex plan that you can't act on. So thank you so much for joining us and for sharing such great expertise and insights.
Thank you so much for having me.
And listeners, that was Monica Hoffman, the Fractional Marketing Consultant, a masterclass in how to simplify your strategy and put the human connection back at the center of your business growth. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. Please be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more resources. A special shout out to our partners, UPS and EDP, for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses across Canada. Please keep moving forward, and we'll see you in the next one.